Thank you for listening to Depictions Media Radio. Welcome to Policy and Rights, the show about government policy and human rights. Welcome back to Policy and Rights here on Depictions Media Radio. I'm your host, Michael Clogs. Mental health is an extremely difficult thing to manage and to take care of. It takes a lot of programs. It takes a lot of work to keep our minds healthy, stress-free, and active. And there's a lot of research being done into brains, and especially the aging brains, when we have things out there that are shutting our minds down, like Alzheimer's and dementia. And there's a center out there that's doing a lot of research into this, and the Center for Aging and the Brain Health Innovations is one of them. And the federal government is promising them a large grant, something close to $30 million, for such research to continue. And the center itself is in North York, Ontario, and we're going to hear from Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino, and announcing funding for this dementia research. He is also going to be joined by his fellow MP, Allison Sekuler, who is also going to help talk about the importance of the research that is being done there. They will have other guests from the center talking about how important this brain research truly is. There's a lot of things that they're actually doing in the lines of research to keep our minds healthy, and it's important, especially as we grow older, that things like Alzheimer's and dementia do not have to be normalized. Matter of fact, they are abnormal conditions to the brain, and it is not a normal part of aging. You've probably heard this in other podcasts that have been on Depictions Media, when we have talked to one of our experts on dementia, Karen Tyrell. The fact that dementia and Alzheimer's are not normal, and there is a center that is actually doing research into this, and doing research into how devastating these conditions are to families and to the loved ones that develop these conditions and have to be placed into care probably before the rest of their body has followed along. So why don't we listen to the press conference as Marco Mendicino and Allison Sekuler talk about, with their guest, how important this research truly is to our Canadian society.
We're good to go. Okay, good morning, everyone. It is wonderful to be back at Baycrest. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge that we are here on the traditional territories of several Indigenous nations, including the Mississaugas of the New Credit. Just taking a moment to reflect on those whose paddles have dipped these waters and moccasins have tread this land. We share it together. Welcome. My name is Ya'ara Sachs. I'm the Member of Parliament for York Centre and the Parliamentary Secretary to Minister Gould for Families, Children and Social Development. But I'm really pleased to be here today for a very important announcement. I'd like to extend a big thanks to Baycrest for hosting us today. This organization is really home for so many of us in the community and has helped and supported so many families, young and old, really, through generations in this community. And I'm proud to be part of the community here along with my colleague, Minister Mendicino. I'd also like to acknowledge a few special folks in the room who are joining Minister Mendicino and I today. Dr. Allison Sekuler, who's the President and Chief Scientist for CABI, Dr. Adriana Shnall from SPARC, and also a special hello to Jeff Blinder, who is the Chair of the Board of CABI and who also joins us today. Egg Lawrence and Baycrest is really home for so many, and I can't think of anyone more wonderful in supporting this place than my dear friend and colleague, Minister Marco Mendicino, Minister of Public Safety. And I'm going to keep it brief because we're really excited to be here and we have a great announcement to make. So, Minister, I will pass it on to you.
Good morning. Bon matin. Thank you very much, Yara, for the introduction this morning, for the land acknowledgement, for allowing us to start this announcement, this happy announcement, in the right way. I too would like to acknowledge the presence of a number of leaders in the community and friends as well. Dr. Sekuler, Dr. Shnall, Jeff, to you and to your board, and to our dear friend Bill, who I know is away in Europe doing important work on behalf of Baycrest and the health community in Canada. It is truly an honor and a privilege to be able to do this work with you. Yara referenced it. Baycrest has been an institution of not only health and research, but of providing home care for seniors and the aged now for generations. And it is one of the great privileges of being the Member of Parliament for this community, to be able to see some of the people who not only work here, but who live here, to see the support that they get, the wonderful treatment that they get, to live out their lives with dignity and very well supported. And that's one of the reasons why I think we're so excited to be able to make this announcement, is that we know that that it will be put to good use on behalf of the community. So thank you to everybody at Baycrest and to CABI for the incredible work. Just last month, my colleague, Minister Kamal Khera, the Minister of Seniors, was here to announce $2.5 million for the Canadian Coalition for Seniors' Mental Health. This is funding that will help healthcare workers address the unique mental health needs of seniors. And Yara, I want to acknowledge your advocacy and your leadership in this space when it comes to fighting for every last resource that we can. And when it comes to mental health, especially coming out of the pandemic, you are such a powerful voice within our caucus and in our government. And we're very fortunate to have you. And I know that announcement was made here in part because of all the incredible work that you do. So thank you, Yara. When it comes to CABI, the Centre for Aging and Brain Health Innovation, we know that you're committed to improving the quality of life for the world's aging population through innovation. And so again, I want to officially thank you for your work in the field of brain health and aging. Si la majorité des Canadiennes souhaitent veiller plus près de leur maison et de leur famille, ils s'attendent également à ce que les soins de longue durée, s'ils sont nécessaires, soins de grande qualité et sécuritaires pour les membres de leur famille ou leurs proches au fur et à mesure qu'ils vieillissent. But there is also the very real risk and the reality of suffering for a mental health challenge like dementia. We know that Canada's population is aging. As it does, the number of Canadians living with dementia will increase. And based on the latest national data, close to 474,000 older adults will live with diagnosed dementia, and those numbers are continuing to grow. By 2050, it is estimated that over 1 million Canadians will be living with dementia. But behind all of these facts and statistics are the personal stories of individuals living with dementia, including Alzheimer's, and the challenges they face every day. As we talk about those cognitive impairments and challenges, we think about the people in our lives who are close to us, mothers and fathers, siblings, others who are affected by those neurological conditions. L'amélioration de l'accès aux services de santé pour les personnes au Canada est une priorité pour notre gouvernement, et cela inclut les soins de santé pour les Canadiens touchés par des problèmes de santé cérébrale comme la démence, ainsi que leurs familles et leurs soignants. And that is why today, during Brain Awareness Week, I am very excited to officially announce the Government of Canada is investing $30 million to help improve the health and well-being of older adults, particularly those living with dementia, right here at CABI. C'est pourquoi aujourd'hui, à l'occasion de la semaine de la sensibilisation au cerveau, j'ai le plaisir d'annoncer que le gouvernement du Canada investira 30 millions de dollars pour améliorer la santé et le bien-être des personnes âgées, en particulier celles qui sont atteintes de démence. En français. Deux fois. The government is providing these additional resources to CABI to continue to build on their work to support innovators across the country to accelerate promising innovations that help to address the challenges of aging and brain health issues, including dementia. Since 2015, the Public Health Agency of Canada has provided $44 million to Baycrest Health Sciences. The funding was used to help launch CABI and to support its incredible work to accelerate innovation in aging and brain health. As always, we will continue to rely on your research and your evidence to inform the decision-making and the supports that are provided to those who are aged. And I have to say, we're doing this announcement in perhaps one of the most creative spaces that I have ever seen. There are, for the benefit of those who are watching from home, actual displays of technology that has been driven here at CABI that are benefiting people who are aged, people who have dementia, people who have other cognitive and neurological challenges. And the technologies that are on display in the space here are giving them the kind of incredible support, which is why this announcement is so merited. Helping Canadians age with dignity, closer to home, with access to home care or care in a safe long-term care facility is another critical area of priority for our government. Les Canadiens méritent un système de santé universel, accessible et de grande qualité qui leur permette d'accéder en temps utile aux services de santé à l'endroit et au moment où ils en ont besoin. Des meilleurs résultats, voilà ce que nous voulons offrir. I look forward to continuing to work with you, Dr. Sekuler, Dr. Shnall, Jeff, the board, and everybody else here at CABI and Baycrest. Thank you again for all of your advocacy. That is a big part of the reason why we were able to make this announcement today for $30 million. And we know that so much good will come out of it, not only for those who are aging in this community, but for the entire health and research community in Canada. It is truly an honor and a privilege to have Baycrest as an institution in our community here in Eglinton, Lawrence. Thank you very much. Merci.
Thank you, Minister Mendicino. It's not every day that you meet a group of people who are so dedicated to a vision and have grown it over time and shown innovation, perseverance, and a complete dedication to our aging population, and understanding that journeying through life is through stages, but each one should come with dignity, should come with compassion, should come with choice and a quality of life that is exemplary. And I can think of no better team striving for that than the team at CABI. And it's led by an amazing individual, Dr. Allison Sekuler, who is really an incredible voice in the world of innovation and research, and doing it with such love and compassion for the work that she does and the people who she cares for. So I'm thrilled to invite Dr. Allison Sekuler to the podium.
Thank you so much, MP Sachs, and thank you, Minister Mendicino and Minister Duclos, for today's wonderful announcement. We're so grateful to have the Government of Canada supporting the Centre for Aging and Brain Health Innovation, or CABI, since that inception back in 2015. And this additional funding comes at exactly the right time to meet the urgent needs of Canada's older adults from coast to coast to coast. Canada's aged population is growing faster now than at any time in its history, and Alzheimer's disease and related dementias are growing with it. As Minister Mendicino mentioned, nearly 10% of Canadians 65 or older already live with dementia. And as those numbers grow, so too does the impact of millions more Canadians who are their loved ones and their caregivers. So today's announcement will enable CABI to advance the national dementia strategy by ensuring that the best Canadian solutions get into the hands of people who need them as quickly as possible. This funding will help us advance the health and well-being of Canadians at home, in the community, and in residential care settings. This funding will help prevent, detect, and treat dementia and age-related cognitive impairment so that people don't just live longer, but they live better and they live more. And this funding will enhance system-level capacity to mobilize innovation and build a more resilient, sustainable, and competitive economy. The federal government's reinvestment in CABI enables us to continue filling our unique and vital role in Canada's health, research, and innovation ecosystem. And that word ecosystem is really, really important to us because CABI does not work in isolation. We value our partners, from the Public Health Agency of Canada, the Ministry of Health, ISED, Seniors, Global Affairs, Small Business, to the Canadian Institutes of Health Research and the NRC, the Ontario Ministry of Colleges and Universities, and other provincial health and innovation organizations, hundreds of charitable and nonprofit and industry partners, and hundreds of thousands of older adults and family caregivers and frontline care workers who really guide every aspect of our work and who co-design and test solutions with CABI innovators through CABI's new LEAP platform. CABI adds unique value to every one of those partnerships to ensure that Canada's IP for aging and brain health moves from ideas to impact and from labs to lives. And CABI's approach is also unique in that it works across the entire innovation pipeline, from initial creation and design and development, through testing and validation and refinement, all the way through spread and scale and adoption. And those solutions that get adopted can be technologies or processes or programs, and they've helped Canada age well. CABI's supported solutions have led to improved access and quality of care, to improved ability to age at home, improved healthcare effectiveness and efficiency, and improved quality of life for older adults and caregivers. And these solutions include LIFA, which is a gamified virtual training program for personal support workers and nurses in long-term care, strengthening the workforce that is desperately needed supporting seniors' care at this moment in time. It includes solutions like the Interaxon Muse, which is a made-in-Canada AI-based neurofeedback solution that can improve mental health and well-being of older adults through mindfulness meditation training, and which CABI-supported projects have also shown can support sleep in older adults, as well as potentially detecting dementia years before we have any memory symptoms. And CABI solutions also include the projects like the one that Dr. Shnall will describe in a few moments, funded by our SPARK program, which helps frontline care workers develop, test, spread, and scale the innovations that they know make a real difference in the lives of older adults. To date, CABI has directed more than $140 million towards these sorts of solutions, advancing aging and brain health, and levering multiple dollars for every dollar of federal funding that we receive. And our innovators lever even more. They have now turned the investment from CABI into more than $500 million in follow-on funding to advance their work even further. So today's support is crucial to be able to amplify that impact just when it's needed the most. L'annonce d'aujourd'hui soutient le vieillissement par l'innovation. Nous sommes impatients de continuer à travailler avec nos partenaires, y compris l'Agence de santé publique du Canada, pour faire progresser la stratégie nationale sur la démence et faire en sorte que le Canada soit un pays où les gens peuvent veiller avec grâce dans les lieux de leur choix, en préservant le plus longtemps possible leur indépendance et leur santé physique, cognitive, et mentale. Minister Mendicino and MP Sachs, thank you for your exceptional leadership and your unwavering support of older adults and caregivers across the country. And thank you to the Government of Canada for your commitment not only to create a national dementia strategy, but for having the vision and the courage to invest in the research and innovation that's required to drive it forward. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Dr. Sekuler. Lived experience, when we run these programs, when we test this technology, the connection of lived experience of those who share what they're going through, who are able to give us the feedback of what their lives are like and how they can be improved is an important part of this process. And Dr. Adriana Shnall from Spark is a key part of that. So I'm pleased to welcome Dr. Adriana Shnall to the podium.
Thank you so much. And, you know, as I hear you talk, it's really interesting because when you talk about lived experience, and I see myself, I lead, it's called the Koschitzky Centre for Innovations in Family Caregiving. And a lot of us in this field are caregivers personally. We do this for a living, clinically, and also we do research in this area. And I include myself there. So thank you for saying somebody with lived experience. CABI has been supporting our mission at the Koschitzky Centre to discover and advance knowledge and solutions that honor and support the needs of caregivers of older adults. So that's our focus. Spark is a funding opportunity for point-of-care workers who have innovative solutions for improving the aging and brain health sector. The magic of this program really is that it's truly the project leads who really are people that know at the bedside what is happening. Spark empowers those individuals working in the front lines to translate their experiences and impact with funding from CABI so that they could be a partnership. And this is really how innovation happens. It's not only academics sitting in a university. It's really people that know what's going on. Over the years, Spark has seen many success stories of individuals and teams who have implemented their ideas to improve the lives of Canadians living with dementia and their care partners. From virtual reality to intergenerational music programs, the innovations supported through Spark continue to make a positive impact on the aging population. Speaking personally, thanks to various CABI grants, the Koschitzky Centre has been able to bring innovative programs to support families that are struggling to care for their family members with dementia. Some of the projects we've developed over the years were arts-based activities and exercise-based programs for people living with dementia, but also for the care partners. We have also done 2 projects to improve medication management for people living with dementia. And this is really important because when people have difficulty with medications, it's one of the precipitating factors for admission to long-term care facilities. And I have to say that long before COVID, when very few people were using virtual platforms to provide psychotherapeutic support groups, we were doing that. So thank you. Another important function of the Spark grants is that it provides a stepping stone to scale some of the projects by allowing us to apply to other grants based on previous CABI-funded projects. Because as you know, in this area, one grant allows you to then move to the next area because you discover some things, and then you have to take that to the next step to scale it. Imagine caregivers not having to stress about finding appropriate resources. The Koschitzky Centre is developing an assessment tool to bring tailored resources to family caregivers across Canada. Caregivers will complete a quick questionnaire that will lead directly to local resources. CABI continues to allow us to bring innovation by funding our newest project, which is to address an existing gap in supporting family caregivers at the point of admission to long-term care. Because we assume that family caregivers are struggling in the community, but once they come into long-term care, it's for the facilities to worry. And families don't stop worrying. And it's an area that we really need to focus more on. So thank you to CABI for allowing us to move in that direction now. And thank you for making CABI a reality. But more importantly than for us, it's the families that we've been able to serve and support through your generous funding. So what can I say more than I'm one of those people that have truly seen the impact of CABI over the years on the families that I personally have helped. So thanks again.
Thank you, Dr. Shnall. And today's a big day, and there is much to celebrate. $30 million in support for this kind of work. We see it by not just by your words, but by this amazing place that Baycrest is for so many, and so many of our seniors and their families, and generations of families who benefit from the care, the love, and the dedication of the teams here. So I am personally very thrilled to know that we can continue to be a partner with CABI on this work. This concludes the speaking portion of our announcement and event today. I'm going to pass the mic over to the moderator for questions from either from the press or who's online.
We will now proceed to questions from journalists in the room. Please state your name, media outlet, and whom your question is directed to. You will have the opportunity to ask one question with one follow-up. Let's proceed to the first question. Nous allons maintenant passer aux questions des journalistes présents dans la salle. Veuillez indiquer votre nom, votre média et le destinataire de votre question. Vous aurez la possibilité de poser une question avec un suivi. Nous allons passer à la première question. No questions here. We're going to head over to the online moderator.
Thank you. If you're a journalist on the Zoom and wish to ask a question, please use the hand-raising function. Again, please limit yourself to one question and one follow-up. Si vous êtes journaliste sur le Zoom et vous désirez poser une question, veuillez utiliser l'option de lever la main. Et encore une fois, merci de vous limiter à une question et un suivi. Our first question comes from Callum Smith, Global News. Please go ahead.
Hi there. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you fine. Good morning.
Good morning, Minister, and congratulations to CABI. Minister, I've got a question related to your portfolio, and I wonder on 3D printed guns, how concerned are you about these especially given the fact that they're relatively untraceable? And what is your government doing to curb this?
I appreciate the question. There is no doubt that 3D guns is a growing phenomenon within our criminal justice system. It's one of the reasons why we have put in place additional resources at the border. Over the last 2 years, approximately $450 million to the Canada Border Services agencies to give them the additional people, technology, and techniques to be able to interdict all manners of guns, including 3D guns. Not too long ago, there was indeed a very large, a significant arrest, or one of the more significant arrests made by the CBSA when it comes to 3D guns. So there is progress that is being made. Last year, the CBSA made a record number of illegal gun seizures at the border. But clearly we have to do more, which is why it's important that, among other things, that we do three things. First, pass Bill C-21. As part of the larger challenge that we have around tackling gun crime, there's good policy in that legislation that will ensure that we keep our national handgun freeze in place, that we give law enforcement additional tools to tackle the criminals who are terrorizing our communities with guns. And so I continue to work closely with all parliamentarians to see that legislation becomes law. Second, we need to be sure that we support law enforcement in the work that they're doing, both at the border, as I've just described, but equally in our communities, and looking forward to continuing to do that work very closely with our provincial and territorial partners. In fact, just last week, Minister Lametti and I had a very constructive discussion with all of our provincial and territorial partners in the ways in which we can support the work that law enforcement do in our communities, including, we believe, with a pathway to revisiting some of our bail laws. And then third, we have to stop violent crime before it starts. And this we are doing through the Building Safer Communities Fund. It's a $250 million federal fund that seeks to address the root causes of crime at their origins. So making the kinds of announcements that I made just a couple of days ago in the Halton region with my colleagues, Ministers Anand, Minister Gould, Adam Van Couverden, and Pam Demoff. Before that, here in the city of Toronto, my hometown, giving local organizations the additional capacity to provide programming, services, and supports in safe and inclusive spaces is the way that we immunize communities from the risk of gun crime, including putting their hands on a 3D ghost gun. So there's lots of things that we need to do. It's not any one of these things, and that's why I'm confident that if we continue to advance this comprehensive plan, that we can turn around some of the alarming trends when it comes to gun crime across our country.
Thank you for that. And I guess as my follow-up, I wonder what challenges ghost guns or 3D printed guns pose in particular, and I guess how much of the rise would you attribute to the Liberal gun ban?
Well, first, I would say that the challenges that are posed by 3D ghost guns are significant. As you pointed out, this is accessible, fast, cheap technology whose main purpose is to evade the long arm of the law. I've seen some of this technology on display here in Canada as well as in the United States, and it's one of the alarming trends that we see within organized crime. But that's precisely why we have to continue to move forward with the three pillars of our strategy that I've already identified. We do need smart laws like Bill C-21, and I am hopeful that the Standing Committee on Public Safety will continue to study this bill. I've said all along that I will work with all political parties on that committee and in the House of Commons and senators to receive any constructive amendments that they may have to improve and strengthen that bill, including with regards to 3D ghost guns. We've got a track record of listening very carefully to the advice that we get from our colleagues right across all political, right across the entire political continuum. So let's see what comes of that exercise. Secondly, we do need to continue to invest to stop the flow of illegal guns, ghost guns, all weapons at the border. And then third and finally, I think we have to pay particular attention to the social determinants of violence and crime in our country. And that is something that we are doing through the accelerated rollout of the Building Safer Communities Fund.
thank you for listening today. And we don't know how to stress how important it is to continued research into the aging of the brain and how a healthy brain should age and how we can keep our minds, our brains healthy so that we can be there for our loved ones as we grow older. We've heard some other comments about and a question about 3D printed firearms and how they're getting into Canada, and there are some things that we need to questions that we weren't able to get in ourselves during this press conference. And the fact of the matter is, how effective is stopping putting stops at border crossings to hold up firearms when the pattern for a 3D printed firearm can be downloaded onto your home computer, and it isn't really that hard to get a hold of the materials to print the weapon. There are a lot of things that governments need to do in order to ensure public safety and that illegal weapons stay off the streets and smuggled weapons, things like that. But one of the things is, especially with the ability to print a firearm in your home, is maybe we should, I don't know, take a closer look at how easy it is to get a hold of the ammunition. Maybe that is one of the other things that no one is actually really talking about, is how easy is it to get ammunition? Do you need to present your license to get that ammunition in all areas? How regulated is it? And maybe some stiffer regulations into that, so that we have put some stops to maybe it'll slow the process of criminals trying to get a hold of the ammunition so that they can shoot at each other. Just a thought. So, thank you for listening today, and we invite you to do your research into the Center for Aging Brain and Health Innovation, or CABI as they were calling it throughout the press conference. Do your research into it and see what kind of wonderful things can actually come when we manage to keep our brains healthy and we manage to keep our aging population with active minds. This show has been produced by Depictions Media. Please contact us at depictions.media for more information.